Can you tell me, like, what is your biggest red flag when you see a person?
You should go first.
Okay.
I can't.
If they're wearing a Trump hat. If they're wearing a Trump hat.
So what if it's a Biden hat? What do you think, like, is some of the characteristics of a Korean person?
I think you're nice. Like really, you don't care if I'm here or if I'm not, and that's a really good point. Because in other countries, sometimes people just stare at you, and it's like I'm not at ease with that. So here they don't care, and that's really good.
Hello guys, welcome back to our channel. This is Outcast, and today we are at Seoul Soup, and we're going to be asking foreigners what is the biggest red flag when they see a person. So let's get into it. Okay, so thank you so much for the interview, guys. What's your name?
Nathan,
I'm Danny.
Jenny. Okay, so where are you from?
the United States.
United States.
Yeah.
So all of you guys are from
Yeah,
the
we're from the
States.
US.
Okay, so what's your purpose of coming here?
We're studying abroad for 3 weeks here,
Uh-huh.
taking a class on human rights here.
Okay. Can you please introduce yourself?
So I'm Emma. I'm from France, Paris.
Okay. So how long have you been in Korea?
Only one day
Only one day.
in Seoul. Yes. Yesterday was my first day, and
Okay.
I'm staying like 1 week.
Hey everyone, I'm Agnes, and I'm from Hungary, and I currently study in Vietnam, so I'm doing an Asia trip right now.
Oh, okay. So how long have you been here?
In Asia for 4 months now,
In Korea.
but in Korea I just arrived yesterday.
Well, we are Melissa and Holger, and we are from Germany, and it's our first time visiting South Korea.
Okay. So how long have you been here?
1
week.
Yeah, for 1 week. We've
Only
been
1
to Busan, and then we've come back to Seoul now.
So are you like traveling around like Asia in general?
No, just South Korea.
Just South.
Yeah.
Is there a particular reason why you chose Korea?
Yeah, we watch the YouTube channel Korean Englishman a lot. I know.
Okay.
And we really like Korean culture and food, and that's why we came here.
Yeah, I actually watched that channel as well. I really love the channel. So yeah.
I heard it's really famous over here.
Yeah, it's very famous. I think it's famous in like other countries as well, though.
Yeah.
네, 안녕하세요.
안녕하세요.
자기소개 부탁드립니다.
네, 저는 타무나라고 합니다.
타문화요.
네.
혹시 어디서 오셨나요?
저는 조지아에서 왔습니다.
조지아요.
네.
그죠. 근데 되게 한국말 잘하시는데 한국에 온 지 얼마나 되셨어요?
저는 2월쯤 왔습니다.
2월이요.
2월 말에 왔어요.
근데 조지아에서도 약간 한국어를 공부하셨나 보네요.
네, 저는 한국어를 전공했었습니다.
지금까지 본 외국인들 중에서 제일 한국어를 진짜 잘하신 것 같아요. Can you tell me, like, what is your biggest red flag when you see a person?
You should go first. I
Okay.
can't.
If they're wearing a Trump hat. If they're wearing a Trump hat. Or like anything that's like any like political paraphernalia. Or just bad fashion.
So what if it's a Biden hat? Would that be?
I've never seen a Biden hat.
Yeah.
I've never seen a Biden hat, but probably. Like
So what would you say your biggest red flag is?
I guess someone that's really loud. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we're from the United States. It's
Right.
ironic, but
So what would you mean by like loud?
they just draw a lot of attention to themselves, I guess.
So you're like kind of saying like maybe like attention seekers.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. 약간 피해야 할 사람의 유형 어떤 사람이라고 생각하세요?
저는 눈에 마주치지 않은 사람들을 조금 피할 것 같아요. 네.
혹시 좀 더 이유를 자세하게 설명해 줄 수 있나요?
저희 나라에서는 눈을 마주쳐서 얘기를 하니까
네.
요즘에는 그런 사람들을 보면 눈을 마주치기 힘들면은 그때 조금 얘기하고 싶지 않을 것 같아요.
I think a really big red flag is when someone's always one-upping somebody, always having the biggest stories and always the greatest stories and never being modest and so on. That's always a big red flag.
What's your biggest red flag?
I would wanted to say something very similar. So maybe like if the person doesn't seem interested at all. Yeah.
Right.
I think that's the most important thing when meeting someone, that you show some interest, and if that's not the case, that would really be a red flag.
I would say lack of emotional intelligence,
Okay. What do you mean by that?
because I feel like that's what's going to help you through any sort of trouble, and that's what's going to help you mutually understand each other.
Right.
Someone can be intelligent, but if they cannot process emotions, they cannot read people, then that's not really going to lead to anything
Right.
positive.
So my question is, what is the biggest red flag when you see a person?
I think it's the kindness of the person. Like if he's mean, he doesn't want to answer it because I'm a foreigner, it will be like a big red flag. For example, yesterday I was in Hongdae district, and I asked for some information about clubs and whatever, and people don't speak English, so they didn't want to answer me, but not even talking to me. They're like, and I think it's so mean because I'm just lost. So kindness is it's a green flag, but mean is a red flag.
So would you help others if like position was reversed, where you are in France and maybe like some foreigners came up to you and asked like for help? Would you help?
Yeah, of course, like that. I accepted that. I accepted to do the interview because I want to help people.
Right,
In
yeah.
France, I know it's difficult because of the French culture and the French language also. So for you, for foreigners, it's like really hard. So yeah.
This is a kind of different question. So what is your biggest red flag when dating?
Honestly, I think someone's relationship with their family is really important. I think it's a little bit of a red flag if they don't really have much of a relationship with their family.
Why would you say that?
Because I think the relationship we have with our family really impacts how we interact with people in relationships too. Whether we can offer love in the right way and whether we can receive it too.
Right. So what would you say?
I would say my biggest red flag when dating someone is if they are bad at communicating, or if they're really flaky. Like, for instance, if I say meet me here at 6, and they're an hour late, that's not what I want.
It will be in the same vibe, like the feeling I have with the person. Like if he rebound on what I say, if we have a conversation, like if he doesn't speak, I will be like, it will be long. It will be long.
Well, it's been a while since we went dating. We are like a couple for 11 years and married this year, so we lack experience in dating, I think.
So what used to be like the red flag? I guess.
Well, I think people who are generally uninterested in things and are hard to, make them interested.
What would you say?
And if someone is not open-minded at all and just stays in his own bubble, kind of, I think that's not good.
자기 얘기만 하는 사람들을 저는 싫어해요. 뭔가 저는 듣는 편이지만
네.
사실 뭐가 질문이 들어오지 않으면은 너 어땠어? 그런 질문이 없으면은 저는 그 사람을 만나고 싶지 않을 거예요, 아마도. 네.
그러니까 약간 자기 해야 할 말만 하고 그리고 다른 사람들은 좀 말을 잘 안 들어주는.
맞아요. 자기 얘기 해도 되고 근데 뭐가 들을 수 있었으면 좋겠다는 생각이 있어요.
Reversely, what do you think is the most attractive quality of a person?
For me, I think it's someone that's independent and knows what they want, and they don't really need the help of another person to make it through life.
For me, I'm really like attracted to people that are really like determined and like have gotten through hard times and are not like made bitter by it. Like they're still like they're not a bad person because of what's happened to them. Like
So can you name like one person that has that kind of quality?
kind of my grandma. I get like she's been through a lot in her life, and it's like made her into like a really good person.
I guess when someone is really open, in terms of open to all the impulses and experiences life has to offer, open to resolve conflicts. Generally, I feel like this trait can lead you to many places in life.
I think it's the fun he will have. Like if he's fun, it's like a big green flag. It's so nice to be with someone fun.
만약에 웃으시면은 저는 바로 보면 웃으시면은 그때 저는 그 사람이랑 지내지고 싶다 그런 생각이 들어요. 네.
약간 주로 약간 미소를 좀.
네. 미소 중요합니다.
So you've been here for how long?
This is our second day.
Second day.
Yeah.
So you didn't meet like too many Korean people, but what would you say like so far, seeing Korean people so far, what would you say the characteristic is?
From all the ones we've interacted with, they've been really, really friendly to us. We had a man show us how to eat dim sum, even though he didn't speak any English and we didn't speak really any Korean. So They've just been very nice to us so far.
Right. What would
They're very forgiving. Like, we've made a lot of mistakes, like on the metro, like in restaurants, like we don't speak any Korean, and they're very just like, you're trying, it's okay, which is very nice to be forgiven.
would you say that's kind of different in the U.S.? Like how like Korean people kind of try to help like others? Would you say that's kind of different in the U.S.?
I think in the United States, most people are willing to help, but there's less of an expectation for that. It also depends on where you're at in the United States.
Right.
Some people are very friendly, and there's also other areas where people are not very friendly. So I think there's just a wider range of people you can encounter there. I think there's like a reputation that people from the Midwest in the United States are very friendly,
Right.
whereas if you encounter someone in like New York City, there's less of an expectation that they'll be super nice. But those are just stereotypes, so I don't know if they're really true.
So you guys said that you've been here for like 1 week in Korea. So far, when you see like all the people, like Korean people, what would you say is like the defining characteristics of a Korean person?
That's a hard question. I think most people are really friendly and open, but a lot of them don't speak English, and we only speak very little Korean, so it's sometimes hard to communicate, but they really try to make it possible, so it's a really pleasant experience.
Yeah, they also seem very humble and very modest, and always friendly. I would say we didn't have any negative experience so far. I would say.
Yeah.
How would you say like Korean people are different from your country's people?
They're more silent, I think, quieter in general, and more humble, I think.
They have a lot more respect for the elderly people. I would say.
Is it kind of different in your own country?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, there is some respect for elderly people in Germany, but here it's more, visible. There are designated seats everywhere and so on. This is not the case in Germany in many places.
2월에 오셨다고 하시죠. 그래서 지금까지 그래도 한국인들을 꽤 만나보셨을 것 같은데 한국인들의 성격은 보통 그냥 generally 그 말했을 때 좀 어떤 것 같아요?
저는 한국 회사에서 한 5년 동안 일했거든요.
5년이요?
네, 그래서 그때 뭐가 항상 급해요.
그러니까 조지아에 있는 한국 회사를 말씀하신 거죠?
아, 네, 저희는 조지아에서 너무 느려요. 그래서 조지아 사람들이 항상 느리고 저는 그 급한 스타일이라서 괜찮은데 사실 한국 사람들을 만날 때 뭔가 항상 급하니까 일을 제대로 하지 않은 것 같아. 왜냐면 항상 급해서 빨리빨리 했었으면 좋겠다는 마음에
그렇죠.
결국 뭐가 망가져요. 네.
그러니까 이게 그게 흔히 말이제 빨리빨리 문화라고 하는데 이게 뭐 당연히 좋은 측면도 있겠지만 이제 말씀하신 대로 어쩌면 그렇게 좀 우리가 막 좀 넘겨짚고 아니면 간과하고 그런 부분이 좀 있을 수도 있을 것 같다 이렇게 생각하시는 거죠?
네, 저는 그 문화를 줬지만 사실 너무 빨리는 안 될 것 같아요. 네.
그러니까 반대로 그러면 조지아는 좀 더 그런 좀 느린가요? 사람들의 좀 라이프 스타일이라든지.
아, 네, 조금 느리는 편인 것 같아요. 제 주변에서 사람들이 그래. 요즘 젊은 사람들이 그렇진 않지만 뭐가 제 어머니 같은 분들은 네, 조금 느려요. 네.
그럼 어떤 좀 장점이 있을까요? 빨리빨리 이런 게.
뭔가 생활하기가 조금 편해졌어요. 만약에 뭐가 커피 살 때 너무 한 3분도 안 걸리고 우리나라에서 한 10분? 10분 걸리니까 뭐 그거는 사실 너무 큰 문제가 아니라고 생각을 하지만 사실 네, 조금
I'm not sure really. I don't know because I met like mixed of people. You know, the people I was talking about were not mean, but they just don't want to talk to me in nightclubs. I went to a nightclub yesterday and it was weird because they were really around me. But I heard Korean people are shy, so I don't know. I don't know. They were like really touching me. And,
Okay.
So, but in general, I think you're nice. Like really, you don't care if I'm here or if I'm not, and that's a really good point. Because in other countries, sometimes people just stare at you, and it's like I'm not at ease with that. So here they don't care, and that's really good.
Right. This is the last question. So what would you say is the characteristics of French people?
I'm from Paris, so I know we have a bad reputation. We're mean. That's a little bit true. I have to say, like some Parisian people don't speak English, and that's why they don't want to speak to foreigners, and maybe you find them mean.
Right.
But in general, French people are really open. I think we are everywhere. Like I traveled a lot, and everywhere there are French people. So I think open-minded is a good green flag from French people. Sorry.
I feel like they are utmost respectful.
Okay.
That's something I really noticed, and I also feel like there's a big contrast between the old generation and the younger generation. You also have an outstanding pop culture, I got to say. These are the few remarks that I can say in the first place.
So how would you say it's kind of different from your own country? So like Hungarian people, how do you think they're like kind of different from Korean people?
I would say this level of respectfulness is not so often in the daily life. I can mention again the pop culture. I would say nothing like this is relevant in Hungary, and also the people usually listen to different kind of music. They don't follow idols, so this entire culture is very new to us. But there are more and more people who are really into K-pop and this entire Korean wave.